Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, an O-line assessment from head coach Joey McGuire with 2 weeks now in the rear view and competition ongoing. We'll also get to Red Raiders, who are going to be in for more PT moving forward than maybe anticipated coming into the season, and giving thanks for a broadcasting blessing from above. Next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, and football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. And on today's episode, we're diving into several topics that Red Raider head coach Joey McGuire touched on to kick off the week. I want to get to a bigger picture subject, but one clearly that could impact Texas Tech roster-wise. It's a conversation across the country right now regarding 5 years to play 5 years of college sports. How about it? We've got ideas from Coach McGuire on that. We'll also get to some interesting names that he chooses to mention as far as Red Raiders that may be in for more time on the field than he thought coming into the year. This now with 2 weeks behind us. We'll get to that in just a moment, but I want to kick off the conversation up front with the big boys. You and I were talking about on our reaction episode following the win on Saturday, just how impressed we've been with the front of that defense and really just the first string or the starters of that first team defense in general. Offensively, you've scored 60 plus every game, so a whole lot of good stuff happening, but it doesn't seem like anywhere near as much of the picture is settled with the offensive line just yet. We know there's still some competition, possibly, if that's the right word to use to describe it, at least some room for some guys to be pushed. And that's one thing that Coach McGuire spoke on following 2 weeks talking about that offensive line.
Feel really good. Vinny's getting back. I think he played, you're grading, played better game one than game two, but he played good in game two. But Will Jadis is playing at a really high level. I feel great about Will. So I think Vinny's a guy that can help us at both guards. Hunter, game one and two, played really well. What we're really trying to do maybe a little bit with Hunter is, can he also play guard? If there's some pressure that he can put on anybody. But I do feel good about those with Jacob and Hunter. Jacob still is our number one guy, but I do think Hunter is pressing him to make sure that he feels the pressure of being a number one guy. I think Hunter, I don't know what series it was, but it was early in the game. And, he rotated in at right tackle. I expect him to do the same thing. It won't be a deal, that as long as we're healthy, it won't be just five guys playing. I think he's the sixth guy that is playing at a high level to where he deserves to play in the game. I was, the one thing that was really impressive about Jacob, too, there was a point that Howard got a little banged up. He was fine, but just, got a little banged up. We wanted to check him, and so Jacob went over to left tackle and Hunter was at right tackle. I thought Jacob Ponton played really well at left tackle with his reps whenever he went in there.
Call it a competition or don't, Chris. I mean, there are things afoot still with the offensive line. What do you think?
Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. My man, Coach McGuire, there needs to be some salt water in his future. It's like the pipes are a little that's like week 10 voice as opposed to just week 2 it looks like. So we have often said that the offensive line was going to be I don't want to say like work in progress, but what would it look like at the beginning could be different than what it looked like in mid-October and even into November. They can all have these different phases. That's dictated by injury, by, just somebody passed somebody up or whatever it may be. Ideally, you want this kind of set and then you want to roll. Because it's really the only other position on the team other than maybe kicker, which you're going to get to the point where you get that solidified, it's really the only other position on the team other than quarterback where you really kind of get settled in and then say, okay, here we go. Because we've got chemistry, we've got all these things. Everything else is largely a rotation. There's a starter, but then there's a heavy rotation guy, there's a lighter rotation guy, but there's a rotation typically everywhere else. Corner sometimes gets fairly close to not necessarily, but even that rotates. But what is fascinating to me is that what we've settled into here now that everybody's back and healthy and you're rolling is that Vinny Scurry, who was arguably your best offensive lineman, whether it was transfer or in all reality, your best lineman in very limited time last year, as a backup, and then Hunter Zambrano as a backup or the sixth man, if you will. And Hunter Zambrano was thought to be like a top 20 overall offensive line, transfer portal target in general, but like certainly as an offensive lineman. So he was like one of the top offensive line transfers, but I think in general, regardless of position, he was at the high end. And this is what you're dealing with as potential. So this is a compliment to Ponton, Davion Carter, Jados, all the things, but it also was dictated by injury. But what ultimately you are hearing here is that Joey is saying we now have 7 people we feel very, very comfortable about that are high-end players. Davion Carter is the backup center to Sherry. I think Zambrano can play either tackle spot. Always played left tackle. He's playing right tackle now. They see Ponton as a backup tackle guy. Scurry is playing the interior. So, and Joey even said we may start to play Zambrano. We may go ahead and purposely rotate, which you don't see much. But he used the word competition because he wants to have some of those guys feeling the pressure of having to play well week in and week out. So the pressure remains on.
I want to get to another group of names, Chris, that Coach McGuire was touching on regarding seeing them on the field more often moving forward than maybe he considered coming into the season. We're talking about Red Raiders in for more PT.
The one that I'm really proud of that could play more, I don't think necessarily does, but I feel really comfortable is Adam Hill. He's done some really good things. So those other, Cam and Jacoby, now they play more when you're in the games that we're going to be in and stuff like that. And honestly, I'm a little surprised of like Bryson Jones and Leighton and Tristan. Great question, but how do you redshirt Tristan Gentry? Let's have clean blocks, and he's a legit returner in college football as a freshman. So, you're sitting there going, he's going to be like Jacoby and Cam, and then you just – again, hope that we get the 5 for 5 right. But I think some of those freshman receivers and Adam Hill, they've surprised me that they're mentally and physically more ready than what I thought.
We'll get back to 5 for 5 in a minute, a phrase you're going to want to commit to memory. But Chris, what do you think about some of those names he mentioned, including one that's prominently been discussed after he becomes the first Red Raider to top the century mark as a ball carrier in Adam Hill?
He's like the second or third leading rusher in the Big 12.
First, today's episode brought to you by DoorDash, and it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP, Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. And just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. This week for Texas Tech, it was the QB, Baron Morton, 16 for 18, 201 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, only 1 hyperextended limb. You can't ask for much more than that. And just like Baron Morton delivered for the Red Raiders, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. And DoorDash Streaks, that's going to help you save every Saturday you order so you can stack it up all season long and wind up saving up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, Keep the streak alive and keep the winning alive by fueling your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promotional period through November 18th. But Chris, what do you think about some of those names he mentioned, including one that's prominently been discussed after he becomes the first Red Raider to top the century mark as a ball carrier in Adam Hill?
He's like the second or third leading rusher in the Big 12.
Duh. He is surprised.
Yeah. The path to that is obviously, again, all about context, as we
the
often
heir
say.
to the Taj Brooks throne.
That's right. Adam Hill. He's just doing Albany things, though. He's brought the whole Albany thing here to Lubbock, and he's just dominated the second half and all those in these first two games. Those three receivers, I think Adam Hill is not a true freshman. He is more of I think he's been here for a year, but he is a younger player that I think that they feel like will help them maybe a bit more than what they would have thought. And some of that's it's necessary just because of your issue with Quentin Joyner. But the other name that's not mentioned there is Brock Golwas, who's an interior linebacker that's, I think, has got a 10.6 100-meter times on his resume that was electronically timed. And I think Sheil Wood has been very impressed with him. And you're not exactly just super deep with your interior linebackers, especially now that you've had to play Curry elsewhere. And so we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. But the thing about the 5-5 deal is that Joey mentioned this after the opener. Okay. After the UAPB game, he was asked about playing freshmen and all that stuff. And he's talked about the long discussion that we've been having about, red shirt rules and eligibility and 5-5 and all that stuff. And Joey pointed out, which every time we talk about this, we point this out too. It just doesn't make any sense why they don't do this. It's so much common sense that I don't know, but maybe that's exactly why they're not doing it, because it's too much common sense. But all the waivers that get filed and all the junk and paperwork you have to fight through, it just eliminates so much of that. And it's just a clearer picture for everybody, because you're basically are saying you can play 4.5 years, but not a full 5. Like, what are we doing? And it just doesn't really jive or make any sense, because you're in so many ways, you're really not doing the program right. And you're also not doing the student athlete right, really. So I just don't understand, because you can still play the 4 regular season games. And this is a football only thing. This is what's so dumb. And that's why in many ways, at least football, they've bent a little bit, but like in basketball, I mean, it's you step on the floor in a game and it's like, hey, you're triggered, unless you get a medical issue. And then again, we're back to the waiver thing, or we could just give everybody 5-5 and be done with it and think like normal people. But
wait, which part are you talking about? The football only, like the 4 games, or that this change would only affect football?
I think that if they make a change, I think it's a blanket change. What I'm saying to you is that they only allow right now like partial eligibility in your red shirt year.
I get what you're saying. Whereas basketball, you get 1 minute on the floor, 1 second.
And it's like, what are we doing? Yeah, like, okay. Why is that? That makes no sense to me. Like, none whatsoever. And
you think they do like a similar percentage of maybe the games played or something, or I don't know.
I have
something.
Trying to figure out what these people feel like is normal and rational, beyond me. And I've been to Indianapolis. There's nice people there. It's just, but I don't grasp it. And I don't know I'd love to know like what the opposing argument here is to, because you're seeing some lawsuits filed. I want my extra, and a lot of the lawsuits are on behalf of, hey man, I want another extra year of earning power. This pays pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about it from just do it right by a kid. You're already allowing them to be on a campus 5 years. Just let them play all 5 years. And if they do have an injury, it's built in. It's baked into the cake there. But Joey, on the tech part of it, Joey was asked about this after the opener, and he kind of said, we think the rules are going to change. We're kind of like, so we're just throwing guys out there. If they can help us, this is what we're doing. And we're not, because we think the rule's going to change. So we're, and I was like, whoa, okay. And I think now, I think after a couple of weeks have gone by here, I think he's he phrased it a little bit differently. Now it is, if they can help us right now, we're just telling them, hey, you're going to have to roll. Like we're not keeping anything on ice if you can help us right now and win. And so, because think about it, Tristan Gentry, Leighton Stone, Bryson Jones, these are 3 freshman receivers. Well, where's Kelby Valson? Where's TJ West? Where's Morgan and Turner and some of these other receivers? Have these guys been passed? Do you need a returner? Adam Hill was not. I think he already redshirted last year. But then you've got Brock Gowas, who's a true freshman, and I think that's just you need him on special teams, and you could potentially need him at linebacker. So I think they're just, those guys they're gonna roll them, I think. And I get it. You're trying to win a conference championship, and so you can't really you don't have the luxury of going, we may not use you much, and so we're gonna leave you on ice all year, especially when you think that eventually the rules are going to be changed anyways. So kind of an interesting topic to try to follow as we go along here, because a lot of these people that we're talking about, they've already played in 2, and those didn't really count as far as like your ultimate goal for the season. So I just would suspect that the folks that have played already will continue to play as we go here.
Yeah, let's take a listen to Red Raider head coach Joey McGuire giving his perspective on this conversation. And what I thought was an interesting part of his answer was what you're alluding to there, Chris, how he goes about discussing usage with some of these guys in the current set of circumstances, red shirt and all that we're accustomed to. Here's Coach McGuire. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly feel the call of the stadium. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. And with the money you save on tickets, you can then splurge on foods, drinks, gear, and more. Gametime makes it all possible. And best of all, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get the first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. And if you're like me, you get tired of endless scrolling trying to find the best deal, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deals is the go-to move, since it automatically picks the best seats in your section for you at the best price. And as always, you can get a view from your seat right there in the app, so before you buy, you know exactly what you're going to see. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use our code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked on College, for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. What I thought was an interesting part of his answer was what you're alluding to there, Chris, how he goes about discussing usage with some of these guys in the current set of circumstances, red shirt and all that we're accustomed to. Here's Coach McGuire.
Not that the NCAA is watching my press conference, but I hope the NCAA decides to give us 5 for 5. It's the easiest rule that they could ever pass. It would eliminate a lot of lawsuits. There's a lawsuit going on right now with a large number of players that are trying to get 5 for 5, guys that played as freshmen. I think he's going to get drafted, but it could affect Reggie Virgil. Reggie Virgil played 79 snaps as a freshman, 79, and he lost a year. So he's very interested in if he needs to get a year back. So with us, we've always done it this way. If a player, no matter what age they are, can help us win, they're going to play. If they're not ready to help us win, then we're going to stick with the 4 games. And usually whenever you're talking about not helping to win, it's physical. It's more the physical part. Some mental, but more physical part. They're just not developed yet. I've told all those guys, Brock is one of them. I mean, Brock's playing a lot of special teams, and he's been in the mix of the 2s at linebacker. I've told him, I said, guys, you just need to understand, if you can help us win, you got to roll. You got to go, and we'll figure it out after that. I really do believe at some point, I wished it was tomorrow, they could drop a lot of lawsuits right there, and stop wasting time to where the only medical or the only red shirt is a medical red shirt, and give us 5 for 5 to play, and we can go from there. But if they can help us play, and they're all good with it, they understand if they're playing, then they're good.
I think at this point in time, given the climate of how fluid things are with rules and restrictions and eligibility and whatever else, just roll the dice and take your chances. You're going to be fine. That would be part of the messaging, I would think, to a lot of these guys is whatever it says today ain't what it's going to say tomorrow.
I know. And you are, I really don't think I don't think you're going to be irresponsible here, because the majority of your class, like most of the offensive linemen, defensive linemen, your quarterback, they're not going to be in a position to try to help you win this year anyways. And it's a physicality thing, or we've just got plenty of others ahead of you, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But in some of these other ones, I think that they are just going to roll them out there and say, we feel good enough that they may get this year back, but we're not going to worry about it because they're going to be able to help us right now anyways. And these were, and in most of these cases, these were kids that were here at semester, like they've been on campus for like 9 months anyways. That is also the crazy thing about the sport, specifically to football, is that it's pretty normal to enroll early now. I mean,
you feel like you're behind if you're not early.
Well, and you are.
Yeah.
I mean, like very much so. It doesn't guarantee you anything, and some people do want to do it. I think what Tech always says is, I mean, if you're on a basketball team or a track team and you can go win a state championship or what, by all means, stay in school, go try to win and do your thing. But if you do enroll early, those guys that have been here since January, and you see the guys that just show up at late May, it's 5 to 6 months, but it is a massive difference with your body, your mentality, your knowledge of what is going on here. I mean, it's worlds different because you just don't train elsewhere like you would here. You don't eat elsewhere like you would here, and all those things. But that's also
a huge life change.
Yes,
months in your rear view or whatever, as compared to just arriving and all that acclimation that goes.
But that's also why a lot of those guys are in a position to help you and help you now too. So anyway, we'll continue to monitor it. Everybody's still clean from the 2 games anyways, even if they both played. But maybe they'll start to spread some of this stuff out, and like, okay, we're going to only have this receiver for the next 4 games, and then we'll put him on ice, and then we'll have this receiver. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But that's Joey's opinion on it, and he's not wrong. I wish that there was some common sense here, but unfortunately, we're not there yet.
I didn't really know how I was supposed to feel about it until he started throwing names around like Reggie Virgil. I'm like, yes, let's go ahead and grant these things.
And that's the other side of it.
That's the other end of it, yeah.
Yes, it's like the Davion Carter deal, like where you think, okay, this is it for him. No, I get my year back.
So I get pretty excited about that, assuming it would be in the right uniform.
If you want to talk to me about Reggie Virgil coming back here, I would love to have that conversation.
You're open ears.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Man, before we wrap it up, let's spend just a moment talking about this broadcasting blessing bestowed upon the Red Raiders. I think we got some news since we were last together, Chris, that next week's affair, Salt Lake City, Big 12 opener, different time zone. So all types of preparation for me personally to be, I don't know, kicking off at 9:30 Central Time in front of a bunch of lathered up Utahns. We learn we'll be an 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff. You reminded me when I was already celebrating that's 10 a.m. local time, Salt Lake City kickoff. You're in a big noon slot on Fox. So I think as a visitor, that sounds all gravy to me. Any reaction to that news that's come across?
When I saw this, if I could have hugged it, I would have. I mean, I don't know if you could have. I don't know what the best time to play was. I just typically think like the earlier the game when you're on the road is better for you if you're the road team. That's the way, and that's why I always get real nervous about home games when they're big ones and when they're earlier they are. It's just, late arriving crowd and and I'm sure both teams practice early enough to where it's not like it's just totally throwing it all off. But and then I don't know. I just think that was it's big noon kickoff. So that big pregame show will come on at 9 a.m. in Lubbock time, and it'll roll right up to 11 a.m. and then you'll kick it off, which out there at Salt Lake City, it will be 8 to 10 and we'll kick it off. So kegs and eggs, man. Although I don't guess they do the keg thing out there in Utah, because I'd love to have the mimosa, Bloody Mary, screwdriver, beer conversation that we had last week, to which you were like, yes. That's
Ed McMahon, 4 stars.
Yeah, they don't really they may not really roll that. Although I think there is a difference in Utah and BYU.
That's what I thought.
Fans. Yeah, but it's not as much as you would like to think.
I thought the Utes were all the gutter trash of Utah. Maybe that's just my perception. My bad. If I don't know, I'm just getting familiar with you guys. I didn't keep up with the Mountain West.
Yeah, we will. I'll have to get our man JT Wistershill on the show, or I'll just do a show with him where we get into some of the Utah culture and all the stuff, and how different it is to BYU and all that stuff. Because this is the first time that you're about to play these guys in football. We did it in hoops, and it was a nothing burger. I think you won by like 722 points one Saturday afternoon. I felt like,
and if you're not people of the gutter, all due respect, I'd love to be educated. I just don't know. I'm just making guesses. I don't know much about Utah. Never been. Would like to go. John Ford, John Wayne, snow skiing. I hear it's great. But yeah, I'm liking this news. I will qualify this news celebration with this statement. If the kickoff time is determining the fate of your season, you ain't going nowhere anyway. So I just want to get that out there because I think we would all agree on that. But it doesn't hurt to be a visitor and kind of having the hometown fans rubbing sleep out of their eyes, right?
I mean, if we all want to just keep it real, keep it 100, right? When I saw it, I'm like, I'll be home early. I'll get to watch some ball that night, and I won't be rolling in, into the Level household at like 3:30 in the morning. Which, the older you get, the more that sucks. And I'm like, the sun will still be up when I'm getting home. So that was also my thought. We all come at these things from a selfish standpoint. Like, how does it affect me? Well, maybe my team has a better chance. Maybe I'll be home earlier. Check. Right. All the things. So yeah, I don't mind saying that.
Let's just make sure we take advantage of what's perceived to be a friendlier kickoff time, hopefully in a couple of weeks. And we don't get too excited celebrating that to look past the Beavers to our detriment as well, because it is Oregon State that's up first. All right, Chris, appreciate the time as always. Man, before we get out of here, I do want to say this for just a moment. Did not know about this prior to our previous recording, but I know I can speak for you on this, Chris, and a lot of other Red Raiders who are thinking about the family of Rod Blackburn, who had a medical emergency prior to the game on Saturday. He eventually did pass away. I don't know the context of all of it. I don't mean to end it on a down note. Sounds like when you know about your destination on the other side, that's not a down note. We ain't worried about Rod today, but we're thinking about all his family and friends, and no one to send him with guns up.
Yeah, and Coach McGuire yesterday opened up his press conference with kind of some similar thoughts. So I think that's a classy way to wrap this thing up. And I mean, it does bring a smile to my face. Like if I was watching my favorite team, and that's the way you left this earth.
I sort of thought the same thing. I got to be honest.
We could all be so lucky, kind of thing. So yeah, certainly. Section 120 at Jones AT&T won't be the same. So and I walked up the tunnel after I interviewed Coach McGuire on Saturday. At the game, and I was walking back up to the press box. You may have already left the stadium by this time, and they're stretchering somebody up the tunnel, and I just stopped and paused. And I don't. This was apparently two separate incidents, but it just gave me pause that this thing we call life, man, is very fragile. And so, yeah, they always say that about perspective. Either you have it or you need it. And it certainly gave me some perspective in the time that I was like, whoa, like football's not really that big of a deal. Sure. me trying to get home is not that big of a deal. But anyway, I appreciate you bringing that up. That class act on your part.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that. I hate we didn't already, but would just, of course, offer up a prayer from anybody out there who's a praying type of person or a guns up or whatever you got. And God bless all the people, first responders or not, that leapt into action. I know immediately to try to do what they can. And I know several of my elder Red Raider family members, if that was their point of exit from this plane, they would be anxious for us to join them eventually and laugh our asses off that it was the Jones in that scene where something like this would play out, just knowing my family's sense of humor. So I'm with you and everybody else who's thought about the circumstances that we will all meet at some point in time. And we're thinking about the Blackburn family and all the friends who are missing a friend or a father, husband, grandfather, whatever it might be. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you all for joining us once again. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Chris, appreciate you, man. Enjoyed it, and we'll see you for the next one.
Guns up, always, yeah, and especially to the Blackburns.
That's right. And, of course, hit our show notes for a link to a free 14-day trial. If you're interested in becoming a Matador Mobster, that's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. Thank you to the Everydayers for always riding along. And as always, thanks for the time. And we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.